my camera off. For whatever reason, my screen keeps freezing. So as long as you can see, that's all that really matters to me, as long as you can see the slides. So we're going to go through our parent workshop. We will, you can, I'll ask if you have any questions, so you can take yourself off mute to ask any questions. But if you want to keep yourself on mute until then, just so everybody can hear, because sometimes there gets to be a little background noise and it's hard to hear when we're all on. But there'll be time to ask questions, so feel free to do that. So let's get started. Thank you so much for joining us. We are talking about friendship. Is my child a good friend? And this is something that a question that we get often from families, something that they're worried about, making sure that their child is being kind. Are they kind to others? Are others kind to them? So this is a really important topic that's on a lot of minds of families, and it's something that I hope we can clear up a little bit tonight. So if all right, so here we go. Gonna move through our screens here. Okay, so let's start with why it's important to be a good friend. I'm sure we all know that learning to be a good friend is an extremely important part of a child's social development. So if we think back to our first friends, how we got those friends, what kind of friends we had in our lives, it's a really important part of our memories of childhood, are our times with friends. So friendships are important for children's emotional and psychological well-being. And being a good friend can help children build positive relationships with others throughout their lives. So it's something that starts at a young age, and it, of course, stays with us. And that ability to make good friends, keep good friends, is something that stays with us into adulthood. So luckily, your children have a lot of opportunities and experiences to be around other children and to foster those friendships at an early age. So it's a really, really crucial part to a skill that is something that lasts all throughout adulthood. So I just want to cover a few things that learning to be a good friend helps children do. So when we think about what being a good friend can teach a child, certainly it's building those social skills. That's probably the cornerstone of it all. But building social skills means that interacting with children, developing those social skills, and learning how to be a good friend, it helps children communicate effectively. So it's strengthening their social skills. They learn how to communicate more effectively with their peers. They learn how to resolve conflicts. So they learn how to fix their problems, to try to find solutions for their problems, and also to show empathy toward others. So that's another one that is really important. And I know that a lot of families are concerned about children feeling empathetic towards others. And we talked about this at a past workshop, that it does develop over time. Empathy is something that starts to develop later on in toddlerhood, into the twos, and sometimes then starting in preschool into the threes. But you'll see those younger children, those 1-year-olds that have those faces of concern when something happens. And that's that first budding start of empathy, concern for how other people are feeling. But the building of the social skills is a really important part of a young child's life. So it also gives them an opportunity when they're learning how to be a good friend. It also is an opportunity to develop their emotions. So emotional development is fostered through having good friends, because friends provide emotional support. So it's not just the adults, but it's really important for children that their friends also care about how they're feeling. And, it happens quite often at the center that a child might draw another child a picture, might try to give them something of theirs to strengthen that bond, or to show them how much they care. So it really allows them to develop emotionally when they're making friends and being a good friend. So emotional support, companionship, it gives them a sense of belonging. So being a good friend to others, it helps children feel like they belong. So they're wanting that connectedness. Separateness from a group is something that's needed sometimes. We need that time away, but we really want to feel a part of. So that's something that starts at an early age. And having positive relationships with others can help children develop self-confidence, self-esteem, and a positive self-image. Of course, then academic success. So children who have positive relationships with their peers, they tend to have a better academic performance. So that's really, really important because social skills and emotional skills, they affect everything. And at Wellkind, we really try to push the point home that the ABCs and the one, two, threes, they all happen. And we do focus on that. But really, the social and the emotional aspect of your child's development is what's going to set them up for success all around. So we really put a lot of focus into those areas because that's what builds a successful child and eventually a successful adolescent and a successful adult. So just think about that. Think about the fact that children who have positive relationships with their peers tend to have better academic performance. So children do better in school. They get better grades when they have positive peer relationships because good friends can provide that support. If they're a good friend, they can provide academic support. They might help them with schoolwork. They can encourage a child to do their best. So it's important that we pour into our children all of that positive feedback that we can. But there comes a time when they really care about their friends and what their friends think as well. So if they have those positive peer relationships around them, they're going to be stronger students and do better in school. Excuse me. Coping skills. So strengthening their coping skills. When children have an opportunity to have good friends and be a good friend, they learn how to cope and they learn resilience. Because good friends can provide a safe space for children to express their emotions and to work through difficult situations. So if you think about it, how do we get through difficult situations or how do we have the skills to handle difficult situations? Well, it starts from having practice, right? As a child, we get to practice when something doesn't go our way. How do we feel? How can we show how we feel? How do we get those feelings out? How do we constructively share those feelings with someone else? So coping skills is what can develop when friendships are strong. So they can depend on each other, they can work through conflict. And of course, this takes a lot of modeling from adults to start off. But with time, children can solve a lot of their own problems. And of course, healthy relationships. Children learn how to be a good friend and they can help children have healthy relationships with others throughout their lives. So it's a really important skill and it provides a good self-concept. So it allows children to feel good about themselves all around. So just fostering good friendships in your life and being a good friend is really an important part of all healthy relationships. Oops. So how can children be taught to be a good friend? This is probably what you all came for. Why we're here, to learn how we can teach this skill. So we can teach this skill through teaching children empathy. And at the end, I'm going to give you a few activities that you can do at home, but I just kind of wanted to talk about ways that you can teach this in the home and ways that children are being taught this at school. And these activities can be an ongoing part of your relationship with your child. But first, I just wanted to touch on how can children be taught to be a good friend. So let's talk about empathy. You can encourage your child to understand how others feel and show them how to put themselves in another's shoes. So this is something that you can do through your dialogue with your child. If they're upset about something, you can acknowledge their feelings and say, you sound upset, or I see you're upset. And once they're able to communicate those feelings, you might say, how do you think your friend feels? And this is in a non-judgmental way. This isn't well, how do you think he feels? Look at him, and kind of a judging or a shaming type of question. This is just a completely calm, honest question that you would ask. So it's really important. Your tone of voice would be very important when you're talking to your child like this. You might say, I understand how you feel. That must have been hard. How do you think she feels about it? And just be very, subtly inquisitive about the other person. And this gets the wheels turning for your child. This gets your child thinking and an opportunity for them to do a little bit of a reflection. And this can happen at a young age. This isn't something that is just for older children, but you can be planting those seeds. Even if your child isn't at the age to understand yet or to reply to you, you can still be having these dialogues because this is how you're starting this at an early age. Or you can fill in the gaps and say, I would feel like this. I know I might feel this way if this happened to me. And you can relate to your child in that way. And that's how you're teaching your child to look from another's perspective and to feel empathy. Because when children empathize with others, they're more likely to be kind and supportive. Encouraging communication goes hand in hand with that. So just teaching your child to communicate effectively with their friends, encourage them to listen and ask questions and express themselves clearly and honestly. So this is something that you can help them with if you are in the presence of your child and another friend. You can kind of get involved in that and help fill in the gaps for them. So if they're saying something and the other friend isn't understanding, you can say, do you want to try again? Or do you want to help? Mommy can help you explain what you need. So you're helping them, you're modeling for them. And if your child is listening to another friend talk, but not really paying attention, you can say, listen to what she's saying to you. I think it's something important she wants you to know. So you're helping that interaction between your child and a friend. And in doing that, you're helping your child be a better friend. Another way that you can do this is to make sure that you're always promoting inclusivity. So you're teaching your child to be inclusive of others and to appreciate diversity. So you're encouraging them to include others who may be left out or who may be different from themselves. So this is how we can have a huge influence in our child's lives, is to just really always send that message home that it's really important for you that your child be someone that includes others. So you might ask your child, did everybody get to play? And they might say, well, no, so and so didn't play. Oh, well, why didn't they play? Oh, they were just sitting at the table. Oh, maybe next time you can go over and ask them if they want to play. Because sometimes we just need to fill in those gaps. Our children are not doing something maliciously or they're not trying to exclude, but sometimes they need a little bit of an awareness, and we can be the ones to give them that awareness. The next one is modeling, and modeling good friendship behavior. So pay attention to how you are as a friend. And I'm talking to moms and dads and grandmas and grandpas and aunts and uncles. What kind of friend are you? And how is your child watching you be a friend? So are they hearing you on the phone with a friend? Are you laughing? Are you listening? Are you being supportive and kind? If you're, in the presence of a friend, what are those interactions like? Is it a lot of positive communication? Is there criticism going on? Is there kind of venting going on, which is totally okay. But just keep in mind when the eyes of a child are on, they're gaining information and trying to make meaning of the environment based on what they're seeing. So it's important to remember that and know that you're modeling what good friendship behavior is, and showing your child how to be a good friend by treating others with kindness and respect and empathy. The next point is self-esteem. And children with positive self-esteem are more likely to be confident and empathetic towards others. So encouraging your child to have positive self-esteem and celebrating their strengths and accomplishments is a great way to do that. So it's really important to find ways to compliment your child on their effort, not necessarily the outcome. So, maybe they tried really hard at something. If they're doing a puzzle and they worked really hard to get one piece, or they've been persistently trying to get some pieces put together, even if they don't get the pieces put together, just the effort that they are showing in doing that is definitely worth mentioning. So we want to take the time to say, I see you are working very hard at that. You are determined to find the puzzle pieces that match. And it's not always about a good job when the puzzle's finished, because that's focusing on, getting it done and doing it right, right? But if we're just focusing on our child trying and how hard they're working at something, those types of compliments go a long way, and they really build up the child's self-esteem so that they know even when it doesn't go well, or if they don't get it right, if they fall at dance class, or they miss the ball at baseball, they strike out, your compliments are not about that. Your compliments are something else. So I saw how you were really concentrating at trying to hit the ball at baseball practice. That was great effort. So that's a really subtle difference, but it makes a huge difference to your child. So that's how we build a positive self-esteem. The next one is conflict resolution. And I see I have a little typo on resolution there. Conflict resolution is not spelled correctly there, I see. But conflict resolution is about teaching your child how to resolve conflicts peacefully and respectfully. So encouraging them to listen to others' perspectives and find ways to compromise. And you can model this through your interactions with them. So if your child's talking, you're listening, and make a point to say, I'm listening, I'm here. What are you wanting to tell me? And when when you're talking, you might want to say that I need you to open your ears and listen because this is important. And being respectful in the way that you're doing that. And if there is a problem or you have a conflict, you can say to your child, looks like we don't agree on this. You think this and I think that. What should we do? This is a lot of what happens in the classroom. The teachers spend a lot of time doing these type of setups, trying to get the children to think of their own ideas, how they can solve a problem, how they can compromise. With the younger ones, of course, with the toddlers, this is highly teacher directed. So the teacher is really filling in all of that language for the children, and they're the ones saying, it looks like you want the red ball, but she's already holding it. Let's find another red ball together. So that's how it starts the process starts to develop that conflict resolution. But of course, as they get older, they're able to think of solutions themselves. So a really important skill that we're building. And let's go to the last one on here, which is social interaction. So promoting these skills and behaviors can help your child become a good friend and build strong, positive relationships. So this social interaction is allowing your child to build these positive relationships with others. So again, you're in luck because your child has plenty of social interaction at school, and they're able to come across all of these things that I've mentioned and have practice doing all of these things. But we find children to be much more successful if they're promoting these same skills at home. So that's why we want to share this information so that you can also be on the same team, and we can all be working towards the same goals. So let's see here. Okay, so here's some activities, and some of this is a bit repetitive, but I really wanted to just, bring the ideas home. But these are some activities you can do with your child to help them learn to be a good friend. So we've talked about this before because it's a really important it's a really important lesson or an important activity that you can do. And this is an ongoing activity with your child, and this is role playing. And this is what they do at school. This is what the teachers do. And this is also something that you can do at home. It's free. You don't have to buy anything. This is just a way to interact with your child. So you can play with your child and have them act out different scenarios where they're being a good friend, such as a scenario where you might say, what would you do if your friend was upset because someone took their toy? What could you do? So just giving them these what would you do or how could you, acting out different scenarios. Or you can say, okay, pretend I just took the toy out of your hand. What would you do? Or what could you say to me? So you're giving them opportunities to practice these skills with you in a low stress environment. Because remember, if it actually happens with a friend, a difficulty or something that's challenging, it's a high stress, right? Because they're emotionally triggered. They're not really thinking clearly because their emotions have been set off. So if you're able to do this with your child, even driving in the car, this is just conversation you can have. Driving in the car can really help your child learn how to be a good friend, because you get to play these situations out. Just dialogue them and see what comes up. You might be surprised. Um, Things like cooperative games, so games that require teamwork, like building a tower, blocks, or competing on a puzzle together, or just completing a puzzle together. Those are cooperative games, and that helps your child learn how to be a good friend because there's a back and forth there. Reading books. So reading books that emphasize the importance of friendship and the qualities of friendship, such as kindness, empathy, and respect. And the wonderful thing about this is, just for being here tonight, you've won a book. Yay. So everyone that's attended the training tonight is going to get a friendship book, and we will pass them out at school tomorrow. So thank you so much for coming. And that being said, or thank you so much for being here. That being said, if you don't mind, if you could just write your name in the chat, you can write your first name and your child's name or something like that in the chat box. That way we have a record of everyone who's here, and everybody gets a book. The next point is discussing feelings. So you can encourage children to talk about their feelings and emotions and help them understand how their actions and their words can affect others. So this is, again, something that just can be a part of your life. And many of you do this all the time in the way that you interact with your child. So we really want to bring feelings into it all the time. How did that make you feel? What are you feeling right now? And these could be, again, they're non-stressful questions. So we don't want to just ask these questions when our child is upset. We want to ask them all the time. We want to say, it's a beautiful day, right? We're looking at I don't know, it's a beautiful sunny day, and you just got them out of school and it's just gorgeous outside. Just say, how does this make you feel? What does the sunshine feel like? How are you feeling right now? So this is meant to happen at all times. Something else that you can do to help your child be a good friend is to just encourage them to create a handmade project. And a lot of your children, and I know because they bring them to school, are just so kind and thoughtful. They might make something at home and want to bring it in for their teacher or a friend, like a picture. And that is a wonderful sign. That's just a wonderful sign. But engaging with your child in a craft or something that involves creating something special for friends, like a friendship bracelet or a card or just something, that's a really good way that you can help your child learn to be a good friend. Practicing active listening. So teaching children the importance of listening and attentively being there for their friends. That's something that can be practiced easily at home. So when you're talking, helping your child to learn that they're listening and not talking at the same time, and learning to take turns and patience with the dialogue. You doing that with your child at home is going to allow them to develop those skills more deeply, so that when they are with a friend, they can do that more readily and easily. So you want to encourage them to ask questions as well and show interest in what their friends are saying. So if you're saying something to your child, you might say, do you have any questions you want to ask me about that? And that just gives them some ideas. You know, if a friend is talking, just as adults, if someone is talking, if it's a conversation, we want it to be a back and forth conversation. So we don't want it to just be a one-sided conversation. We want to, to have the other person ask us questions, and we want to be able to ask them questions. So we want a back and forth. So that's the skill that we want our children to develop as well. And then the last one is just modeling good behavior. So setting a good example at home by modeling positive behaviors, such as being kind and respectful and supportive. And this happens, children are always watching us. And you know this, and I know this. At the times when we think they couldn't possibly have heard that or been watching, they were, and they will say something that lets you know that they did. And we're just constantly in shock, because children are always listening. They don't have to be looking with their eyes to be listening. So oftentimes, if they're in another room and they're coloring and they overhear a conversation, a loud conversation, or just a regular conversation, they're just very hyper aware of their surroundings. Everything is new and exciting to them. So they don't have a million things going through their heads like we do. And they're just really present and in the moment. So they are hearing and they are absorbing. So being the best models that we can is a really important way to make sure that we're being a good example for our children. So in short, learning how to be a good friend is a crucial part of a child's development, helping them develop social skills, emotional resilience, and healthy relationships with others. So that is all we have in the way of information for you tonight. If you have any questions, I'd love to hear them. I also have some more exciting information for you. We have a parent workshop coming up on March 30th, and this is presented by the CEO who does our Children's Farmers Market. And it's a great one. It supports our healthy lifestyle pillar, and the topic is stretching food dollars. So who doesn't need to attend this one? Because everything has gone up recently. So they're going to help us stretch food dollars, making healthy choices and making that money go farther. So that is at 6:30 on March 30th. So you can sign up for that on our website on wearewellkind.com. And you probably may have already gotten a link for it, but if not, we'll make sure that we get those out. And that's going to be done by the nutrition education manager of the CEO. We did have a nutrition learning series and a food demo. We had one already, but we have another one coming up. And we had one on February 15th, which was the My Plate family meals. But we also have one coming up about vegetables and fruits, simple solutions. So helping your child get more veggies and fruits into their diets because a vast majority of the population is not getting enough vegetables and fruits, and particularly children. So this is a really big one on March 15th. And I just wanted to put this up here. This was a feedback that we got from a parent from this last workshop that we did, My Plate. So they thought that it was an eye opener. They knew it was important to stay healthy and promote good eating from a young age, but it was just put so simply. And the workshop really did that for them. And seeing the My Plate diagram was an aha moment. And this parent encourages all parents to get involved in these workshops, not only because knowledge is power, but to get that sense of community. So it was a great experience. And these are happening in person. So this is not a Zoom, this is an in-person. And we have it available at 1:15 or at 4:30. And last time we had parents come into the building for it. So this is a great one. And we have a few more coming up in April and in May. So we're doing these once a month. So I encourage you all to come to that because it's great. Good stuff. Also happening in March, we have the Dr. Seuss Birthday Bash. We have a nutrition learning series, like I just mentioned. And the Birthday Bash is celebrating reading. So this month is all about literacy, language and literacy. So we're celebrating Dr. Seuss. We'll be reading a lot of Dr. Seuss books. We have already put out requests for guest readers. So if you're interested in that, let us know. We put a few slots out there, but we are, we're looking for more families if you're wanting to do that. We also have the I'm So Lucky party. So we're very excited about that. That's on March 17th. And on that day, it's of course St. Patrick's Day to the rest of the world, but to us, it is celebrating gratitude and appreciation. So that's one of our pillars, gratitude and appreciation pillar. So what better day to celebrate that than the 17th of March for our I'm So Lucky party. So going to be dressed in green that day, green shirts, and having a lot of green healthy foods that are going to be fun. We're going to have quesadillas, green spinach quesadillas for the kids, and smoothies and all the fun stuff. So that's coming. We also have our spring book fair, and that's on March 20th. So it's a lot happening in March, as you can see. And of course, the Stretching Food Dollars workshop that I already mentioned. So if you want to visit our calendar, wearewellkind.com, you're going to see all of that. All of that is there for you. So we're trying to send people to our calendar more often because we are updating it and we want to make sure that you have it accessible to you at all times. So that is the end of our presentation tonight. I can't see anyone because I think I put the toolbar out and I can't see anybody. I'm not sure if you can even see me any longer. Or if
Yeah, we can see you.
Okay. My screen was very much glitching, so I turned it off while the presentation was going on. But yeah, so I hope that you got some helpful information tonight and that you have some ideas, at least one thing that you want to try with your child or try more of. So that's our goal, is to kind of just be offering as much information as we can here and let people pick and choose what works, what doesn't work for them, and to share any feedback that they might have. I see If you haven't put your name in the chat yet, please put your name in the chat so that we can get those books to you. So everybody gets a book. Does anybody have any questions? All right. So how excited are you for the month of March? We have a lot going on in March, and I'm really looking forward to all the activities that we're going to be doing with your children. We're so excited. It's a fun month. We hope that we continue to get warm weather and we get outside more often and we get to experience the outdoors. So that's our goal for March, is to do as many outdoor activities. We have there's so many things coming up in March that we want to be enjoying indoors and outdoors. But I don't know if anybody has anything else they wanted to share. We have a lot of people on here tonight. I didn't see that, but we got a nice group. So just make sure that you put your first name in the chat and your child's first name. That way we will pass them out to your child. If your child isn't in attendance tomorrow, no worries. We'll get that book to you as long as we know who's here. So is everybody feeling all right? Everybody good? Everybody ready to be a good friend? Teach your child